Let's talk about hypnosis. What's the first thing that pops into your head? Is it a swinging pocket watch? Maybe someone on a stage clucking like a chicken? Well, today we're going to push past all the theatrics and dive straight into the real science of this, well, truly fascinating and super misunderstood phenomenon. So, what's the deal, really? Is it just a party trick to get your friends to do silly stuff? Some kind of spooky mind control? Or is there something way deeper going on here? A genuine human capacity that science is only just now starting to get its head around? That's the big question we're digging into. The story of hypnosis is really a tale of two completely different things. On one side, you've got the myth, right? The stage shows, the swinging watches, this idea of someone else pulling your strings. But then on the other side, you've got the actual science, brain scans, controlled experiments, and the discovery of a stable, measurable trait in all of us. Okay, first things first, we have to admit it. Hypnosis has a serious image problem. I mean, it's totally caught between this goofy stage show caricature and some pretty wild pseudoscience. Recovered memories of alien abductions and all that. But our whole goal here is to slice right through all of that noise. Because behind all the smoke and mirrors, there is a genuine neurological phenomenon that tells us so much about how our own minds actually shape our reality. And this brings us to what might be the single most important and, weirdly, the least talked about finding in this entire field. See, the key to understanding hypnosis isn't some mystical trance. It's all about a measurable biological trait. And that trait is called hypnotic susceptibility. Now, this is absolutely crucial to get. This is not a skill. It's not something you can learn or practice to get better at. It's a stable trait, kind of like your personality, that just determines how responsive your brain is to suggestion. And when you look at the properties of this trait, the old myths just completely fall apart. For one, it's stable your whole life, and it's partly genetic. But most importantly, it has absolutely nothing to do with being gullible or unintelligent. Instead, it lines up with something called absorption. That ability to just get completely lost in a book, a movie, or a piece of music. And this isn't some rare, magical ability. It's spread across the population just like tons of other human traits. You've got about 10 to 15% of people who are highly responsive, a similar chunk on the very low end, and then the vast majority of us, we're somewhere in the middle. Okay, so you might be thinking, how do we know this is real and people aren't just playing along? Fair question. And the answer is pretty simple. We can see it happening. The brain doesn't lie, and brain imaging gives us this incredible window into what's actually changing inside someone's head. And the researchers who study this stuff are not mincing words. This quote right here is from a landmark study that basically proved, once and for all, that something profound is going on. It's not a performance, it's a genuine change in the brain's processing architecture. Now, check this out. This study brilliantly illustrates that point. It used something called the Stroop effect. Now, for you and me, reading is automatic, right? You can't just decide not to read a word you're looking at. But they told highly hypnotizable people that they would see words as just meaningless symbols. And it worked. They actually turned off one of the brain's most automatic processes. The brain scans confirmed it. The neural conflict that this test usually creates just vanished. So, what does that feel like from the inside? Well, the research shows that under hypnosis, the part of your brain that's in charge of self-monitoring, your inner critic, that little voice that's always questioning things, it just gets quiet. And that allows suggestions to be experienced way more directly, without all that internal debate. So now that we know that this is a real biological thing, we have to look at both sides of the coin, because with this ability comes some absolutely incredible power, but also some very real danger. The power is just undeniable. Something called hypnotic analgesia is so effective that it's been used for surgery without any chemical anesthesia. It can literally separate the physical sensation of pain from the suffering that goes with it. But the danger is just as real. Hypnosis can create false memories that feel 100% authentic. It boosts your confidence in a memory, but it does nothing to boost the accuracy. And this is exactly why the idea of recovering lost memories through hypnosis is so incredibly dangerous. Our memory is not a video recorder. It's a messy, reconstructive process. Hypnosis just cranks up the volume on the suggestible, creative part of that process. That's why testimony that's been refreshed with hypnosis is just flat out inadmissible in most courtrooms today. So what does all this mean for you? How does this trait actually show up in our everyday lives? Let's talk about the hidden levers inside your own mind. So, how does all this even work? Well, the leading theory is that your brain is basically a prediction machine. It's constantly guessing what's out there in the world. Normally, your senses correct those guesses, but hypnosis seems to flip the script. It's like it turns up the volume on the brain's internal predictions and turns down the volume on the data coming in from your senses. The suggestion literally becomes your reality. And this, of course, leads to a pretty personal question. Could you be one of those people in that high response group? Is this how your brain is wired? Well, here's a quick check-in. Ask yourself this. Do you get completely lost in a good book or a movie? Do you have really vivid, immersive daydreams? Can a piece of music make you totally lose track of where you are? Or have you ever been driving and suddenly realized you don't really remember the last few miles? These are all signs of high absorption, that trait that's a really strong predictor of hypnotizability. And that leaves us with one last truly mind-bending thought. We now know that for some people, the mind has a literal switch to turn off automatic reading or to dial down the experience of suffering. So the real question isn't whether hypnosis is real. The question is, if those switches exist, what other ones are waiting inside your mind that you just haven't found yet?